I think this is the end of the conversation for the New Zealand golf. Now is the big time. We know this week is the US Open week, right? So as golf professionals in the industry, give me your thoughts about who's going to win this week. Yeah.
Well, it's the second longest US Open course in history, right?
Yes.
My understanding. Yeah, it's long. So anyone that's going to win, they need to be good off the tee. They need to be accurate. They need to be able to hit it far, especially to attack some of those tighter pin positions that they're going to have. So it was funny, we were talking a little bit about it this morning, and my pick would be Rory McIlroy. I think he's powerful off the tee. The wind starts picking up around that golf course too. It's going to make the fairways even tighter. Mm-hmm. So you need to be really aggressive off the tee, and I think that guy's potentially got the goods. Mm-hmm. That's my thought.
Yeah, my vote's DJ. After had to not pick after his debacle at the Masters and not actually getting on the first tee box and playing is probably the best golf of his career. I reckon it'd be hard to pick. I mean, he can hit a 3-iron longer than all of us can hit our drivers, and probably a lot straighter as well. So I think that's my guy for sure.
I'm going to go Southern Hemisphere and say Jason Day.
Jason.
Nice.
That's a good pick.
Nice. Somebody at least close proximity to New Zealand, a few hours away from us.
He's
but
Australian,
I think he's got all the components that are needed to tackle the golf course. It's going to be a marathon, not a sprint. So it's going to be about who can play their best on Sunday, not who comes out of the gate charging on Thursday.
Definitely.
So whoever can keep their head together for 4 full rounds of golf will come out ahead. And I think Jason Day has what it takes.
So it sounds like the distance is a big factor of winning this game, right?
Yep.
So as coaches, let's break down some of the features of this course and coach us how you're going to deal with it like a pro. Can we do it?
Sure, yeah, let's get into it.
Let's do this.
Let's start with fescue. All right, this must be the most talked about word on tour this week, right? We know if the fairway is like 40, 50 yards, but right beside it is the fescue.
Yeah.
How do you deal with fescue?
Hit the fairway.
When you've got somebody behind it. We're used to
Gotta
New
hit the
Zealand. Yeah.
fairways.
We've got it. New Zealand's fescue is a big component, so these guys are experts in being able to talk about how to deal with it.
Again, this is where you need to be long. The thing with fescue is you can't go in there with a long iron. I mean, that's the thing. So obviously it's going to be lie dependent. It's really important. But these guys are going to have to bomb it. They're going to have to get close. It's tough. They're going to have to go in there with a wedge and something with a lot of loft, because what will happen is the fescue will grab the face and de-loft it. So if you're a long way out and you're in the fescue, you're in trouble. You're going to have to play a wedge or something with a lot of loft and try and just bump it out. So the longer hitters will be out far enough that they may be able to still get it on the green. The guys that are positioning themselves further back, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be probably a bit of strategy off the tee as well. There will be that, do we hit driver and get it closer for the fear of going in those tighter positions, or do they lay back and hit a high-flying iron back into those pins? So a bit of strategy, especially coming down the stretch on Sunday. It'll be interesting to see how they play the last sort of 4 or 5 holes, especially if you've got a lead. But yeah, like Ryan was saying, you've got to get a couple of rounds under your belt. Yeah. Got to not lose some balls in that long rough. You can't even find it if you drop it in there. So it's going to be interesting.
How about the greenside bunkers? We know they have really small greens and all the bunkers, like massive bunkers around the green. So they come into the game, what was the strategy to deal with that kind of green?
Well, I would, in some of those situations, you'd much rather be in the bunker than in the fescue. So that could be a bailout for some of the players.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because they understand how to get the ball out of a bunker and how to spin it. Sometimes you won't even be able to get it out of the bunker onto the green if it was fescue. So great opportunity. If it's two-way shot, sometimes it may be better to lay up into the bunker rather than go for the pins.
And also, it seems like they're going to deal with the rain and heavy wind too. So what's the strategy to deal with it?
I think into the wind, what most players do is they often speed up. So the swing gets faster because they think they've got to hit the ball further. And what's really important is, and this is where a lot of the top guys, they've got a lot of experience and they understand that that's a likelihood of what often happens. The key is to keep the tempo down.
Okay.
The key is not to swing faster. So as soon as you start hitting the ball faster, it's going to spin more.
Sure.
And it will balloon. Right? And these guys are pretty good. They're going to understand that. They need to keep the tempo. They need not to, put the foot on the accelerator, and just to keep the ball flight down. And there are certain technical things that they can do, like keeping the swing center forward a little bit, ball position a little bit further back to really knock it down. But yeah, tempo I think is one of the key ones.
Yeah, and if any of us get to play a course like this, it is keeping your mindset nice and balanced and getting the ball in the fairway. Take a little bit of distance off if need be. Don't try and rip it. Sure, you want that outcome, but you don't want to get into that deep haggis. You want to find it on the short stuff.
Right?
I agree. I think the premium on accuracy this week is huge as well. I mean, this is why the U.S. Open typically produces the best all-around players as champions, because they can pair accuracy and distance together with the mental side. I mean, you can make a 7 at Erin Hills easily, but so can everyone else in the field. So I think the mental side of it is key. You know, everyone's going to make a bad number. There's not going to be anybody that walks out of this without a bogey on the card. Yep. So it's just a matter of minimizing the bad shots, maximizing the good, and not getting down on yourself. You make a 6, bounce back and make a 3 on the next hole, and everything's fine. And some great players like Dustin Johnson have seen some meltdowns on the golf course in majors, and again they bounce back. Right? And Jason Day, and they bounce back. They have the mental ability to brush it off and move on to the next shot with hitting the reset button. So I think mental toughness is going to be a huge key.
Okay, so checkpoint for the U.S. Open.